welcome to Tech Talk with Learn to Trade Live. I haven't been live in a while, so I'm glad to be here with you all today. And hopefully, some of you can catch this live. If not, you can catch it on the replay. But I just wanted to put this together to see if I could go live to try to learn a little more about the viewers and what your needs are, what your setbacks are in the industry, what you feel you need to learn more about. And, I just want to try to see if I can get a little more interaction between us as a community, and see if I can find out more about what your interests are. And so, you know, whenever you get to see this, check it out. Feel free to reach out in comments. You can also hit me up on email. But basically, this is just just a talk. Right now, I'm on the road. I have a little ways to go. I got about an hour ride or so. So I just want to kind of chit chat, get to see what's going on, and put a few things out there that you may be aware of or you may not be aware of. But first of all, I wanted to touch on the fact that I don't know how many of you know about the plans for 7-Eleven to shut down between 444 stores, between 400 to 500 stores. It's not much for 7-Eleven because they are one of the leading convenience store chains in the world. So it's not much for them. With in the big picture of it all, it's like that shutdown, them shutting down 500 stores is about 3% of their overhead. So or of their stores. So that's not much when you look at the big picture of it. But let me know if you all have heard about that. I did put out some posts about that you could check out in the community section. Also, there's some posts that I put up about 7-Eleven shutting down some of their stores. And let me know what you think about that, because that could be an effect on a lot of people, especially their staff and stuff like that. I'm not they In the article that I posted, they really didn't mention if they were shutting down their corporate stores or are they shutting down their franchisee stores. They really didn't specify that, but I guess we'll see in a few, whenever they start. But that's something of interest to me and to a lot of other people. But if you do come on and you can't hear this well, because I am driving, I'm not sure how the reception is. But for those that are on, let me know in comments. Just post a 1 if you can hear me. Post a 2 if you can't hear me, and I will try to fix that. But then the other thing too was I recently was working on a Cornelius Viper machine yesterday, and a couple of days ago I was working on a Viper machine too. And I don't know, I think I'm just biased, but I just find the Cornelius machines to be so uh, badly designed as far as being able to work on it, for technicians to be able to work on it. I don't know if you all feel the same. I think I'm just biased. I'm biased more towards FPD. I like working on FPD equipment. And I remember when I first got in this business, I had some of the worst experiences with Cornelius equipment, and I still continue to have those issues with Cornelius equipment for some reason. And maybe it's because I'm just biased, but I always work around it, but still, I want to know your thoughts on that. What do you know, any of you that work on Cornelius equipment and you also work on FPD equipment, as far as soda machines go, Slurpees, stuff like that, let me know what you feel about that. Like, what's your preference? Do you prefer to work on the Cornelius equipment or the FPD Lancer equipment? You know, that's something of interest to me because I find the Cornelius equipment so badly designed. I remember working on a it was a Cornelius FS30. No, wait, I'm sorry, TJ 300. It was a TJ 300 machine, and I had the worst time uh, in the beginning removing the agitator motor on that thing. If any of you have ever worked on a TJ 300 and had to replace that agitator motor, I know you know what I'm talking about. Um, those are those are that's designed in such a bad way. It's just incredible that an engineer came up with that concept. One day I'm gonna try to take some pictures just to show you all what I'm talking about as far as the design of those TJ 300s and why they're so difficult to work with. You really need to have you really need to have your tools on point when you're working on those because if you don't have extension sockets and stuff like that, 3A's to quarter extension sockets, um, you really need those, and you need to be flexible to get up in there to and reach with both arms and to crank those bolts apart to get the agitator motor out, and then putting the new agitator motor in. That's even that's even more difficult. I mean, you end up understanding how to do it, but it's still the point that, to me, in my opinion, that was not designed for technicians with technicians in mind. And I feel that as far as you engineers out there that design these machines, I feel that that should be the point of the scope of the focus of what you design these machines to on how you design these machines to operate is by keeping the technician in mind. Even if you have to have a technician just for a consultation, that would be a big plus. So that's just a little tip for some of the engineers out there that design these units. Because if you have the input of a number of technicians from around the country, I feel that you would be able to design a more efficient machine, um, a machine that's easier for technicians to work on, that would uh, that would provide less labor time and potentially potentially less maybe less repair calls or service calls, which would be a plus for the customer. So that's just my input, but I'd like to know yours. What do you think about that? Um, and Again, that's my bias. I have worked on many machines throughout my years. I've been doing this service work for since 1997. I started out on coffee brewers, um, and then I moved into appliances, residential appliances, and from there I moved into commercial equipment repair, uh, refrigeration repair and service. So I've worked on a number of different units, excuse me, that I feel like had design flaws. And I know a lot of you experienced technicians out there, a lot of you know what I'm talking about. You know that a lot of machines that you work on have these certain design flaws and stuff like that. And I know if you were able to give your input to the manufacturer engineers somehow, uh, your input would have helped that engineer create a better, more efficient machine. So, just keeping that in mind, I like to know you guys' input on that. And I remember working on. I know some of you may not be aware of some of these machines, but you can look them up. But the the Pinnacle machine, that was I believe that was a Lancer. I'm not 100% on that. Might have been an FPD, but I can't remember the specific manufacturer. So that's something you can look up though. But it's a Pinnacle. It was a Pinnacle machine. It's called. And then they later came out with a V3, and those units were very troublesome. They've always had issues. I mean, it was good for picking up calls with and stuff, but it took a lot of manpower to keep those in operation. A lot of parts too. Um, but the thing with Cornelius, especially with the TJ300s, those machines, those TJ300s, for those of you that don't know, that's a fountain soda machine, and they're compared to the IDC Pro, uh, the TJ300 is ancient. It's an old machine, so but they're still out there in the field. So it's something else when you get to work on these, the design flaws that you catch in that system, and then working on those Cornelius's TJ300s. You have to be prepared um, to be able to repair things without really having new parts. Because a lot of times, like even the agitator motors, and this is something else too. This is another thing I'd like to talk about is parts. Like the parts for the TJ300, they're pretty much hard to find. You really have to dig deep to find some of these parts. And as far as the motors go, I'm only able to find like rebuild motors. And a lot of times when you're replacing a motor on a TJ 300, that job's going to take you between, depends on how good you are at it, but it could take you between 2 to 4 hours to replace agitator motor. So with that in mind, if it takes you say 4 hours, say say 3 hours, say it takes you 3 hours, get the motor in, and it's a rebuilt motor, there's a chance that when you go to start up that motor or run that motor, it won't work. You have to pull it back out and replace it with another motor. So so think about that if you're ever in the position where you have to replace a TJ 300 agitator motor, because it's better for you to get the new motor, sit the new motor on top of the drain pan, the drip tray of the machine. Okay, and before you even go to pull out the old motor, you want to disconnect your power wires. Unplug the unit first. Always unplug the unit, but power it down. Pull out your power wires that are going to the old motor and connect them to the new motor that you want to put in. Okay, and then leave that new motor sitting on top of the drip tray, and then power up the machine, and then see if that motor starts up for you, and if it's turning the right direction. That's another thing. Make sure that motor's turning in the right direction. And these are just some tips that can help you if you run into that. Because I know for a fact that in the Northeast, there's a lot of TJ 300s still out there, and you might run into it. So that's just a tip that I think will help you out in the field. Just to go in, check out that new motor first. Okay, disconnect your power from the old motor, connect it, connect those wires up to your new motor, and then test out your new motor before you even remove the old motor. Because it's going to take you a while to remove that old motor, and this will prevent you from having to put a supposed new motor in, and then it don't work. Then you got to pull that motor out to try to replace it with another one. Because most times the motors that you get are going to be rebuilt motors, and you're not sure that those are going to work all the time. So that's just a tip for you. Um, and the other thing is, for any of your seasoned technicians out there that work on these units, if you know of a company that that builds these um, motors, I haven't been able to find one. I really tried to look. I did look on Partstown. I mean, everything's going there now, so going through them now. But I did look there, and I found like rebuilt motors and stuff like that. But for me, I have a local place that provides those rebuilt motors for me, but they're not 100% all of the time. So if you do know of a company that does rebuild those motors or has new motors for those TJ 300s, drop me a line in the comments and let me know because I'm interested in uh, looking into that a little more. But yeah, like I said, this was just a spur of the moment thing. I just wanted to come on and chat for a little bit about a few things and you know tell me tell me more about what you're looking for in the commercial equipment repair industry. What are some of your goals? What are some things that you feel might be holding you back? What do you feel is some of the issues that might be holding you back from reaching your goals? And maybe we can come up with some things to present to you that could help you overcome that. Because anything can be overcome. It just is it's a matter of you trusting within yourself and getting past the limitations that you put on yourself because we tend to put limitations on ourselves that hold us back. So, and then a lot of times it's just a matter of getting helpful information that can help you and maybe a resource or two that can kind of guide you a certain way. So I want to see if I can help with that. So, you know, help me to be able to do that by interacting and, you know, being open and open up with, some of those things, like if you're looking to open up start, launch your own service business, if you need some input, some resources on that, we can provide that, and me and a bunch of other seasoned technicians that are out there that provide information on these platforms. I'm sure they would all be willing to, you know, give you information that will help. So, feel free to reach out with these questions and stuff. And I'd like to try to do more of these tech talks, um, and eventually, excuse me, I'd like to get to a point where I can do more forums, like a forum talk with some of the other seasoned technicians out there, like Mike Reed, um, Mike Sneed, a few of the others that are out there. I'd like to put together like a forum type thing and see if we can all come together with a lot of our information and resources to present to you um, on like a panel uh, type format where you can ask questions and whoever best could answer your question or give you the information, we could do that. Um, so let me know if that would be of interest to you too, because that could be something that I could work on and see if we can make that manifest for you. So, let me know about that too. But I'm getting close to, my next location. I got a little meeting coming up, so I just want to I wanted to have this chat with you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully, you will catch this on a replay and let me know what your thoughts are and reach out in comments to answer some of the questions that I asked on this. Okay, so I thank you all for watching. I appreciate you. Take care. Stay well.